Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach Podcast, the bite-sized podcast filled with quick and easy, actionable habits. Remember, great habits create that awesome life. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And today's fun fact of the day has to do with inns. Did you know that the oldest inn in the world is in Nottingham? And it is called Ye Old Trip to Jerusalem, which is a very, very strange name for an inn. The story behind this inn is very interesting. Apparently, the inn was a meeting place for the knights of England before they headed off to Jerusalem to fight for the Crusades. The Crusades were obviously the holy wars that took place at one point. One of the main characters of this crusade is King Richard the Lionheart. And you all know about him from Robin Hood. He was the king that came and saved Robin Hood in the end. So all of this took place around that time. And apparently, King Richard the Lionheart had also stopped at this inn before heading to the Crusades. All of this happened around 1189 AD. And inns have basically been these rural hotels that offered travelers a place to stay, food, and took care of their horses in their stables. Today's podcast has to do with a Zen Master who was also an innkeeper. This is a story that I read in Osho's book, and the story goes like this. A student approached his teacher to learn about the secrets of becoming a Zen Master. The teacher told him that there is a Zen Master who's also an innkeeper and you should go spend time with him. He told the student that you must follow him everywhere and observe everything that the master did. And this is because the secret was in the way that he lived his life. Basically, the master's habits. So the student went and met the master. He seemed to be just like an ordinary person, except that he just seemed happier and had this childlike innocence about him. He bustled about doing things that normally innkeepers do. And the student could not identify anything unique about this Zen master's habits that would help him achieve that level of Zen. The student spent a month staying with the master, following his every move, repeating his every action, doing exactly what the master had done. He grew frustrated and finally confronted the master that there must be more that he's not showing him. Something that the master probably does before going to sleep perhaps, or wakes up in the morning. What is it that the master does that he does not see? And the master thought about it. And he said that just before sleeping, he washes the dishes and keeps them away. Then in the morning, he rinses them again. And the student was fed up of this mundane way of living. And he realized that there was nothing to learn from this Zen master here. So he went back to his teacher and complained about how he had just wasted 1 month of his life with this silly innkeeper. It's not a very Zen thing to do if you ask me. But anyway, the teacher patiently said, what had he learned? And the student narrated the story about all the things that the innkeeper did, including the washing of the dishes at night and rinsing them again in the morning. The teacher whacked the student on the head and said, you saw everything, but understood nothing. The plates are like our minds. You have to wash the dirt from them every night. The negative thoughts, the anger, the sadness, the fears. All these things need to be washed out every night. And yet in the morning, we need to rinse them again because through the night, the passage of time, a thin layer of dirt settles on them. And this is exactly what happens to our mind as well. And this is the secret to the Zen master. The care and effort he puts in to keeping his mind clean. And as your habit coach, not as a Zen master, as your habit coach, I want you to learn the simple habit of cleaning your mind before you go to bed and then rinsing it again after you wake up. I will give you 3 powerful ways of doing this. Do any one of them at night and do any one other in the morning. The first habit is to write down all the things that happened to you that day and how you feel about them. The second is, of course, the habit of gratitude. You close your eyes and think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Now, I've repeated this gratitude habit so many times on the podcast, and I'm still amazed how many people still don't follow this, because this is one of the most powerful ways of washing your minds, washing all the negativity away from your life. And this is one of the most powerful ways I have learned of putting that positivity back. The third thing that you can do is mindfulness meditation. And there are a lot of mindfulness meditation guides on YouTube. I will also record a few exclusively for you soon on the podcast. But this practice clears the mind. But the key to this is waking up and washing off that little dirt that settles overnight. Anyone can do this once, but it is keeping it spick and span that is key. So your super simple habit of becoming more Zen starts by realizing that the night and the morning are very important times of the day to take care of your mind. Just before bed, clean it with journaling or gratitude or meditation. Don't dirty it by watching news or doom scrolling on social media. Then, when you wake up in the morning, clean it again with another practice. Make it a habit to start your day with a clean plate.